Hi guys, it's album review time. Bruce Dickinson, The Mandrake Project. This one's been a long time coming, about 20 years, I believe, maybe 19, 20 years. This album came out on the 1st of March on BGM. Of course, Bruce Dickinson on vocals. We don't really have to go anywhere with Bruce Dickinson. We don't have to tell you about Bruce Dickinson. Anyone who watches my channel will know who Bruce is, of course. Amazing vocalist. In fact, I think he's even got better recently than he did maybe 10 years ago. Obviously, he's had health problems with his vocals as well. So, you know, amazing shout out to Bruce Dickinson. And he does sound amazing on this album. I've got to say, one of his strongest performances in years, I would say. A brilliant performance by Bruce. Roy Z on the guitar and bass. Of course, this is Roy Z is his like partner in crime on these albums, and he produces the album as well. So yeah, it's a real guitar driven album. You've got Dave Marino on the drums. Yeah, just great performance, and obviously Bruce is going to get the best of the best here, isn't he? So great performance by the drummer, and Mysteria on the keys. Synths play an important part on this album, actually, bringing atmosphere a lot of the time. A great job by everyone in the band. So 10 tracks on this album, 7th studio album from Bruce. That's pretty amazing as well, considering he does the stuff with Maiden and everything else. Always on tour as well, aren't they, Maiden, most of the time. This is the latest one since Tyranny of Souls back in 2005. I love Tyranny of Souls, actually. It was a great album. Maybe not quite as good as Chemical Wedding, which I think is still the best Bruce Dickinson album, but those two albums, I absolutely love them. So is this one as good? There's been a lot of hype, obviously, about Bruce Dickinson, and rightfully so. We couldn't have metal without Bruce, could we? But let's talk about this album. Is it a masterpiece, in my opinion? No. Is it brilliant? No, I wouldn't say. Is it great? I would say no again. I've got mixed feelings on this album. Is it good? Yes. Do I expect too much? Probably. But I mean, I like this album. I'm not blown away by it. I've heard it 3 times now, and usually by the 3rd time, you know, you get a real gist of how you feel about the album. So at the moment, I'm sort of middle ground with this album for sure. It's dark, it's moody, it's got some great hooks and melodies, but I'm not blown away. What doesn't help is production. It sort of feels a bit uneven. It almost feels like, you know, when you get a compilation album, you know, from a band, you get a best of or something, so spanning lots of albums, it almost feels very uneven. One song, it sounds really good, other songs, not so much. And I don't think it's really anything to do with the feel of the song. It's just, I don't know. It's still better than a Maiden album, by the way, production. And that's not saying a lot. I mean, I've been disappointed with Maiden's production for a long time, although I think there was a little bit of an improvement with Senjutsu. I still think that Maiden need another producer for sure, to do their albums. And this production's better, but it's still, in my opinion, not good enough to showcase Bruce and the guys. Well, what it is all about, though, is the songs in it. So I'm going to talk about the songs on the album. We start off with the Afterglow of Ragnarok. This was the introduction to the album. Obviously, it came out a few months ago now. Obviously, a single, opening track, epic track. No surprise there. This has grown on me as well since the reaction. I actually liked it when I first heard it in the reaction, but it's actually grown as well since then. So it gallops, it soars, it's sometimes doomy. It's a great opening. Many Doors to Hell, another great rocking track, catchy, almost going back to the feel of the first couple of Bruce albums, I would say. Bruce sounds great here, man, and he does throughout. I've got to say, he's really strong in his higher range as well. I think, like, you know, from Book of Souls, when I think he was having those vocal issues, health issues, I think, you know, you could hear him in that higher range struggling a little bit. You know, he wasn't going out of tune or anything, but you could hear it was almost like a strain. I don't hear that on this album. I think he sounds brilliant. It's a great track, and I'm surprised it wasn't a pre-release single. I don't know if it has been now released. You know, obviously all of them have been released, but it could be released as a single. If it has, I apologise. Rain on the Graves is next. This was a single. Came out, what, a month or so ago. I really like this track. Bruce at his most theatrical as well. Really love his manic laughs. I can't get enough of that. People might think it's a bit corny when he does his manic laughs, but I love it. I could hear him doing it all day. It's been a part of his repertoire, obviously, all the way through his Maiden career. I love the chorus. It's such an earworm. It just sticks in your head. Brilliant, brilliant track. Then we move on to Resurrection Men. This is a mixed bag for me a little bit. It's sort of split into almost 4 sections. The first couple of minutes feel a bit of a mess to me, as does the end of the track. So the middle 2 sections I like a lot more, and if the whole song was like that, it would work as a bit of a standout track, in my opinion. The band sort of go all 70s Sabbath at one stage in this, and then take a bit of a Spanish flamenco section going on. It's very cool, actually, that middle section. It's a shame about the beginning and the end, but it's just opinion. But, you know, other people will get drawn towards it. That middle section, though, is great. Fingers in the Wounds is next. Not too keen on this one. I feel the momentum from the opening has really sort of lost its way a little bit here. A song that sees the band trying to do something different but failing, in my opinion. It's just a bit dull, as it's like almost like a heavy sort of ballad. Not great. Eternity Has Failed is the next track. Obviously, Maiden. This was originally a Bruce solo song. Then Maiden picked it up for the Book of Souls album. It's actually called If Eternity Should Fail. So this is Eternity Has Failed. It's probably my favourite song on Book of Souls, actually, or definitely one of them, the strongest tracks. I love that song. I really like this version as well, but it's not really something I want to hear because it's not that much different. It's got different elements, feels a bit more stripped back, I would say. It's improved by a good production on this track. So the production is a lot better than Book of Souls for me. So that improves. And then it brings out the best in the guitar. The guitars feel really sort of crunchy and gallopy. So in that way, I think it's a better version. But did we need to hear it? I think it's a bit too samey for me as the other one. Mistress of Mercy is the next track. It's quite a heavy track, but again, doesn't really grab me, this one. Sounds a bit throwaway, a bit of a filler to me. The chorus ain't bad, but it isn't helped by that uneven mix for me. This track suffers more than any other song on this album with the mix, in my opinion. Next up is Face in the Mirror. Don't like this track. I don't like this one. My least favourite track, probably. Acoustic led, similar to sort of Journeyman, not from Dance of Death album from Maiden. I feel the chorus is a bit dull and doesn't seem to really go anywhere. I feel with this album at this stage has lost its way a little bit. Shadow of the Gods. Now we have a great track. So we've got tinkering piano, symphonic sort of elements, and Bruce really on form. He sounds amazing on this song. The songwriting on this song is a massive step up from what we've heard the last 3 or 4 songs. Intelligent, epic, really interesting to listen to. A highlight of the album. It's really nice with those sort of heavy elements that come towards the end of the track. Shadow of the Gods is definitely a standout. Then we move on to the last track, Sonata, Immortal, Beloved. Nearly 10 minutes long, this one. And for a 10-minute track, I want it to do more. I really do. It's a sort of trait that Maiden now suffer from a little bit. Is they have long songs, but they don't do enough. People say Maiden are progressive. I don't know if they are. They just do long songs to me. You know, and this suffers from the same sort of thing, where it doesn't do a lot in that near enough 10 minutes. It stays the same sort of pace throughout, quite slow, sort of has heavier moments, but really isn't something, you know, to get me excited. And to tell you the truth, I'm a big fan of long songs, but within that song, you've got to grab me, you've got to do something interesting. This song sadly doesn't. So, very mixed bag from me. There are some good tracks on this album. There's not so good tracks. You know, I do expect a lot from Bruce. I always do. I've been listening to Bruce Dickinson, you know, since Number of the Beast. I didn't listen to him in Samson before he joined Iron Maiden, but I've been a massive fan of Bruce. And I am one of them Bruce fans. I'd rather have Bruce in the band than anyone else who they've had in their career. You know, got the Diano fans, you've even got some Blaze Bayley fans. I'm definitely in Bruce's corner for sure. I mean, you only have to look at the stuff behind me. So I'm a Maiden fan, a massive Maiden fan. A bit disappointed in this album. I don't think it's anywhere near Tyranny of Souls or Chemical Wedding, but there has been some, you know, really good positive reviews on this, and I'm really happy for those people that love this album. I will be listening to it through the year, so it might, you know, you never know, it might go up higher on my sort of rankings, and the more I listen to it, that does happen. But at the moment, that's where I stand on this album. Have you got this? What do you think of it? Tell me about the production as well. What do you think of the production? Does it sound good to you? It's definitely an improvement on the Maiden production for me, but is it good enough? And mainly the songwriting. Let me know in the comments below, guys, and I'll see you soon.